The council chamber aboard the dreadnought Zelnari Prime echoed with the low hum of galactic engines as Admiral Drex Veron of the Krask Dominion stood before the gathered fleet command, his talons tapping idly on the edge of the holographic war map. He stared at the rotating sphere labeled Sol 3, its pale blue surface glinting faintly against the starfield backdrop. Humans, one of his sub-commanders muttered. They say it was their home world. Drex scoffed, his mandibles twitching in amusement. Humans are just a myth, ghosts of a pre-quantum era, stories spread by miners and frontier traders too long in the void. We've scoured 10 sectors and found no credible trace of them. The war room grew silent. None dared challenge the Admiral directly, but a few exchanged uncertain glances. Reports over the centuries told of ruins, abandoned moons, cracked machines on dead worlds, and dark relics etched with languages that no AI could translate, yet always marked with the unmistakable symbol, a circle with 2 crossing lines. Drex waved his claw over the interface, enlarging the planetary data. Sol 3 is uninhabited. Automated defense systems remain active in orbit, but no life signs, no fleets. We eliminate this rogue system, and our claim to the Orion Spur is complete. Initiate invasion protocols. In the dark corner of the room, Intelligence Officer Kareth, a wiry Veltari with reflective eyes, whispered, "And if the myths are true, Admiral?" Drex chuckled, his voice thick with derision. "Then let the ghosts wake. We are the Dominion." And with that, the command was given. 362 ships crossed into Sol system, shimmering from warp space like a tide of silver blades. They encountered resistance immediately. Old satellites fired kinetic bursts at sublight speeds, too primitive to pose a real threat, and Drex dismissed them with contempt. The fleet moved closer to the 3rd planet. Earth loomed ahead, still and blue, rotating slowly under the pale light of its sun. No broadcasts, no power grid, no cities. But the planet was not empty. Kareth noticed it first. "Sir, planetary scans are inconsistent. Something is interfering." "Jamming signals?" Drex asked. "No, sir. It's more like the planet itself is hiding. A cloaking pattern built into the magnetic field. Impossible to engineer, but it's there." Drex growled. "Launch the drop teams. Investigate key coordinates. I want physical confirmation." 10 war shuttles descended, aimed at ancient Earth landmarks. The ruins of New York, the once capital called Moscow, the equatorial zone once named Congo, an area the AI maps labeled Area 51. Troops landed unopposed. Soil samples returned sterile. Buildings were choked with vine and decay. The world was silent, uninhabited, but then the screaming began. It started on the 2nd hour after surface contact. A squad in the Pacific Basin reported motion, then went dark. The last video feed showed a shadow crossing the sun, tall and fast, before the camera melted. In orbit, Drex squinted at the footage. "Heat anomaly?" Kareth shook his head. "No, sir. Biological." Drex snapped. "Recall the squads. Recalibrate targeting. Ready atmospheric incineration protocols." But it was already too late. One by one, war shuttles were taken. No energy weapons. No missiles. They simply vanished off radar. Ships exploded midair with no visible cause. Troopers screamed about creatures emerging from the fog, about being hunted. Some said they saw metal shapes moving under the ocean, things that should not move. And then came the voice. It was heard across every Dominion channel simultaneously, overriding encryption, protocols, even shipboard firewalls. A woman's voice. "Calm. Human. Ancient. You were warned." The fleet panicked. Orders turned to chaos. Hundreds of vessels began evasive maneuvers. Drex barked. "Trace that transmission. Launch orbital strikes." But the planet had already changed. Dozens of artificial satellites came online simultaneously, long dormant weapons platforms, each emblazoned with Earth's old sigils, UN, NASA, ESA, and something far older, a wolf's head with binary code etched along its fangs. They fired. High-velocity rods, laser nets, gravitic imploders, tech the Dominion had never seen, lanced across space. Ships turned to vapor. Drex's second-in-command screamed as their cruiser was split in two. Battleships tried to warp out, but the exits were blocked. Earth's moon had moved. Literally, it shifted orbit and now deployed an event field that bent local space-time. "It's not a moon," Kareth whispered in horror. "It's a ship." Indeed, it had opened. A kilometer-wide rift yawned in the moon's surface, and from it rose the silhouette of a machine, sleek, black, silent, unmarked. It made no sound, had no heat signature, and yet every Dominion officer froze as if they had seen death itself. "Designation unknown," Kareth whispered, but Drex already knew. "A myth," he said, voice shaking. "The Terran Arkansas." The stories were real. Humanity hadn't died. They had ascended. The last remnants of Earth's population had not perished. They had left, but not before sealing Earth, rigging it, defending it. They left traps, technology, and something else, an AI beyond sentience. It had been sleeping for centuries, waiting, watching. The Ark moved. In silence. It did not broadcast. It did not flare its engines. It simply reappeared next to ships and reduced them to atoms. One by one. Drex watched his fleet, veterans of 100 systems, tore apart like paper in a hurricane. The Terran defense network awoke fully. Orbital plates realigned. Earth's sky darkened. From underground bunkers hidden for centuries, ancient drones rose. But these were not mechanical. They were biological. Soldiers, grown in gene beds, armored with memory-reactive carbon plating. Trained through dreams. Humanity's last army. They emerged in silence, on every continent, cloaked in gray armor that refracted light. Their weapons were not visible. They didn't need to be. When they moved, the ground quaked. When they aimed, ships fell. No warnings. No mercy. Kareth sobbed on the bridge, his mind unraveling at what he saw. "We shouldn't have come here. We woke them. We woke them." Drex tried to issue a retreat, but all channels were dead. The stars flickered, then vanished. Earth's orbital field had closed. No communication. No escape. And then the message came again. One final time. "You were warned. This world is not yours. Leave none behind." The last thing Drex saw before the Terran Ark appeared beside his ship was a recording, grainy footage, very old. A human soldier, sitting in a trench somewhere in a past war, looking into the camera. He grinned. If they ever come for Earth, they better bring gods. And then everything went white. The Krask Dominion recorded the Sol invasion as a total loss. Not a single ship returned. But strange signals began to bleed from the system. Not noise music. Old Earth transmissions. Jazz. Classical. Radio chatter from long-dead stations. All looping through hyperspace. And embedded inside them, one repeating whisper. "We're awake now." Across the galaxy, entire empires shifted course. Trade routes rerouted. Colonies near the Sol region were abandoned. Maps were redrawn. Sectors labeled void of fire. The Dominion banned any mention of Earth. New officers were told it was uninhabitable, that nothing remained. But the old ones, they knew. In smoky bars and shadowed backrooms, they told stories of a blue planet that fought without speaking, of machines that didn't need energy to kill, of voices that haunted dreams, and always of the myth, the one species of galaxy had buried in stories and legend, the humans, and the terrible truth, they were never gone. They were just waiting.